right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome everyone to Critical Political Thinking. My name is Corey Camasso. I am your host, and we are taking you live to the Derek Chauvin trial, where he will be basically given his verdict, and we will be determined whether or not Derek Chauvin will be found guilty of any of the three charges. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we are moments away from the groundbreaking trial where Derek Chauvin has been tried and given what we appear to be a very fair trial, with the exception of the fact that there has been some recent controversy, as there has been another shooting just miles away that may affect the jury's decision, as well as the Maxine Waters comments, which have just come out momentarily ago, I believe yesterday, in which she had stated that, if there is no verdict that she agrees with, then there's going to be looting, there's going to be rioting. And I think that is basically what the entire United States is basically setting itself up for at this point. So welcome to the official review and review of the Derek Chauvin verdict reading, which will be taking place momentarily right here on Critical Political Thinking. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be bringing you the live verdict reading of the Derek Chauvin trial. Stay tuned. They are running a little bit late here. They were expected to be reading this verdict between 3:30 and 4 p.m. We're expecting them to come live momentarily here, where we will get a look and a view at the verdict and the basically reaction from those gathering outside the courthouse there in Minnesota, as well as reactions from clear across the country. We'll also be coming to you this evening with a very important live stream coverage of exactly what occurred and what Mr. Chauvin was found guilty of, if anything at all. And we're going to go over the details and everything revolving around this case, and what we can do here at Critical Political Thinking, and what you can do moving forward as conservatives in this world of now obvious hate towards our police and those that do keep us safe and do care about the well-being of those within our communities. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We are just moments away. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We are now live with the audio feed. So stay tuned. We are about to have the verdict read in the trial of the, well, I guess we could say the trial of this century, and definitely at least the trial of the decade, the Derek Chauvin trial. This is the moment that most of America's been waiting for. We hope that we as Americans can rise above whatever the verdicts may be. We hope that there is no more civil unrest within our communities, but we have a feeling that regardless of what this verdict may bring back, we are in for a world of difference. So ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. This is something you don't want to miss. We are live with the Derek Chauvin trial. They just recut the audio, so that means they are now bringing in some of the individuals, and this is the moment. So stay tuned, people. Audio checks have been completed. The next step will be the reading of the verdict of Derek Chauvin. We are live here with our live stream direct from the court, so stay tuned, pay attention, because this is going to change America one way or another. We are live with Critical Political Thinking. I'm your host, Corey Camasso, doing something we rarely do, a live stream covering one of the most important and influential trials of our lifetime. Again, we are just moments away from the live verdict from Derek Chauvin's trial for the murder or alleged murder of George Floyd. Again, we'd like to welcome you to Critical Political Thinking. My name is Corey Camasso. I'm your host, and we are live with the live review of the Derek Chauvin verdict. As soon as it is read, you will hear it right here on this live stream, so stay tuned. And we're going to talk about it as soon as it's read. And once again, we are offering our predictions that Derek Chauvin will be found guilty of the lesser of the three charges, and that would hold a sentencing of 4 years, which obviously would not be enough to appease the BLM riders and crowds that are. But it's also important to understand that we have something more than important to address, and that is obviously whatever this verdict is, we need to understand that we as Americans need to stick together and realize that this fake woke agenda and this fake narrative that the liberal media is spewing is only trying to cause further division and hate. If you're watching some of the live streams on some of the major networks revolving around this Chauvin trial, what you're going to find is you're going to find a bunch of people that have no idea what damage they're doing and what they're actually talking about. It's so detrimental to the world around us, and we have to really start to focus and realize the truth behind the matter, and that is that, this fake agenda that they're pushing, while it is important, and equality is one of the most important things, that it's what makes America what it is. There's a reason so many people pour into this country day in and day out. They pour into this country because it's the greatest country in the world, and it's the greatest country in this world because of things like this wonderful judicial system we have. And I have a feeling through this trial, most of the evidence that came out, not only was it fantastically presented by both the defense and the prosecution, I think this is one of the very few times that a trial has gone fairly for both parties, with the exception of outside and, extracurricular, if you will, activities from those of Maxine Waters, those of, SNL, and all these other companies that decided to play their part and make light of a situation that is the foundation of what America truly is. So we are live, and we are going to continue to bring you the live video picture, and as soon as they reattach the audio, we'll pump in the audio from the courtroom, and we are going to present to you the actual reading of the Derek Chauvin verdict, which will be just about any moment now, as they are running a little bit late, but that's fine. We'll continue to talk about our predictions and what exactly we think is going to happen in this trial. And as we had mentioned before, we do feel that Mr. Floyd will be found guilty of the lesser of three charges, if anything at all. I don't feel that the prosecution met its burden of proof for the higher of the two charges, which would be the second and third degree murder cases. Those will be, obviously, if anyone does end up winning those, we obviously know that the jury was not tampered with, but affected by the words of people like, Maxine Waters, SNL, and all these companies that think that it's okay to interfere with the foundation of our country, and that is our judicial system. So again, we are live streaming and covering one of the most important events, and we will continue to cover this Derek Chauvin trial and bring the truth of the matter to light. Again, this is Corey with Critical Political Thinking live, and we are bringing you the truth behind the situation at hand, and that is this George Floyd trial. We are bringing you the coverage as it happens, so make sure you're paying attention and observing, because we will continue to bring you live stream coverage even following the reading of the verdict. in which we will be able to, discuss and go over what's occurring, and then we will continue to reach out to our correspondents across the country and show you the responses in some of the major Democratic as well as Republican cities across the United States. But again, we are live, as is our feed here. While it seems like it is on pause, it is not. We are going to bring you this trial verdict as soon as it happens. So make sure you're staying tuned, paying attention, and following along, because this is the trial of the century. This is pretty much garnering the attention of the entire world. And we here at Critical Political Thinking, while we rarely to never live stream, we felt it more than important to live stream at this exact time, because this is, in fact, part of the foundation of what it is that is the democracy of America. And that's why we felt it more than important to cover this event. So again, we're going to continue to bring you live stream coverage up until the moment that the verdict is read. We'll switch it on over to them, and then from there we'll come back and talk about what has happened. Again, we are anticipating a 4-year sentence for Mr. Chauvin. As we had mentioned, I think the only thing, if anything, that the prosecution was able to prove its burden of proof on would have been the lesser of the 3 charges, and that lesser of the 3 charges, obviously, would be more than enough to bring forward and charge him with. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the results are in just a few moments here, but stay tuned, because obviously this verdict is coming in just a few moments. We'll be back with you. Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, again, we are live here with Critical Political Thinking. This is a live stream of the Derek Chauvin reading of the verdict. It will be coming momentarily. We have been advised as media that the verdict is in, and we are expecting a response within the next 5 to 10 minutes. So stay tuned, and we will continue to bring you live stream coverage of the event. This is the trial of the century. My name is Corey Camasso, and this is Critical Political Thinking. Again, our prediction for this is Mr. Chauvin will be found guilty of the lesser of the 3 charges and sentenced to a 4-year sentence. We don't think that's going to be enough to appease the BLM rioters and protesters, and I have a feeling major Democratic cities may fall this evening. It's one thing when he was killed. It's another thing when the quote-unquote person they find as the killer was, in a sense, found not guilty of murder. Instead, the lesser of the 3 charges, which is, in our opinion, the only thing that the prosecution was capable of and even came close to proving as, their burden of proof. So again, this is the live stream coverage of the Derek Chauvin trial, and we will be with you just momentarily on exactly what to expect and how this trial will unfold in just a few moments. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Corey with Critical Political Thinking. We are live covering the actual trial of Derek Chauvin. In just a few moments, we are going to have the verdict read aloud. We are live streaming the actual coverage from the court, so make sure you stay tuned. You will see it as it happens live here on Critical Political Thinking. In just a few moments, we will find the outcome and the fate of the officer that has allegedly been the reason for so much police hate, unrest, and civil unrest over the past few years, when really we know the reason behind it is the liberal woke media pushing this false narrative. But hey, it happens. You know, everybody has their agenda, everybody has their reasoning behind things. Obviously, there are tons of tragedies that happen across the country. Day in and day out, there's murders everywhere across the country, far more gruesome than the murder that happened here. And while we agree this was a tragic event, and while it is something that needs to be, you know, brought to light and addressed, it's something that we as Americans need to, you know, work forward and understand that we need just to unite on times like this and stop, I guess you could say, fighting and arguing and complaining and worrying about things that truly can't be changed. We've got an amazing world out there that is striving for change and is striving for, you know, people to step up to the plate and do something good for the world around them. And instead, so many people have become so selfish and so self-centered recently that things tend to have become so led askew. And unfortunately, that's why we even decided to cover this trial. We don't do live streams. As you know, we have our episodes and we stick with our pre-scripted episodes. However, this is an event that was more than necessary to cover. And as we had, you know, shared all along, we truly feel that hopefully, you know, the legal system works to the advantage of the individuals involved. You know, do I feel that Mr. Chauvin did something wrong? Yes. Do I feel that he was a murderer? No. Do I think that he deserves the 4 years in jail that we are projecting he gets? Probably, yes. But do I feel that this is in fact a murder trial? No. I truly don't. And that is my personal belief here. That is not the official view of Critical Political Thinking, as you know through the episodes, but this is something that I'm talking about now and I feel very strongly about. You know, it's very important to understand, even in the shooting of the 13-year-old boy, where you have so many people arguing and fighting over this topic, why are we not focusing on the real problem at hand? Why was there a 13-year-old boy out at 2:30 a.m. running around with a gun? It has nothing to do with the poor officer that felt that his life was in jeopardy so much so that he had to shoot a child, but more or less, the problem is in the fact that we are not properly addressing the children in our area. We're not addressing the actual issues. We're not raising our children properly anymore. We're not doing the things that matter to people. Instead, what we're doing is attempting to find a way to blame someone else for your problems. So now you have a family who has lost a child, and it didn't have to happen. Had they focused more on that child and the attention and things around him, I don't think that would have even been close to the case. But unfortunately, things happen. And unfortunately, as unfortunate as that situation is, where an officer had no choice but to shoot a child that they're claiming was unarmed, but clearly, as common sense Americans know, if you have a gun about 1 second before you get shot, you're still considered an armed individual. You're an armed assailant. There's no way for that officer to identify in the dark with a flashlight whether or not that individual was still holding the firearm that he knew he was in possession of. There were reports of the gunfire, so there's just absolutely no way to properly address these types of situations because they're tragic in all angles. Now you have someone that is deceased, as well as you have somebody that is also alive that now has to live with the fact that he killed a child. Do you think he's comfortable with that situation? Do you think he's okay with that? The second it happened, he dropped to the ground. Like he immediately rendered aid. Like he understood the situation, but at the same time, he followed his training. So at the end of the day, these are things that we need to address. Maybe it is the training that we need to address, or maybe it is the fact that there are too many criminals running around breaking the law and thinking they can get away with it simply because of this woke liberal narrative that you can do whatever the hell you want. I mean, in New York City, you can commit a crime and be out the same day with no bail, a major crime. How is that okay? Whatever happened to being held accountable to a society that you're part of? You know, it's just disgraceful, despicable, and unfortunate the way that our country has begun to play things out. As you can hear, we have some audio coming in from the Chauvin trial, so we should be getting a verdict momentarily here. So stay tuned. It is about to happen. Let your friends know to click on in here and join. Please like, please subscribe, please ring the notification bell. We are an unmonetized, unpaid channel, and we do this simply because we care. If you follow back on our channel, you'll see we've got about 150 videos. All along, we haven't been monetized. All along, we don't care about the money. We care about sharing the truth and defeating the lies that are splitting apart the wonderful country that we know we have. So again, they are, I guess, testing the audio here, so you can get your hopes up, get your hopes down, depending on how you're looking at this trial. But unfortunately, fortunately, there is a verdict about to be read here in the murder trial of Derek Chauvin. As we've stated all along, our prediction would be that Mr. Chauvin will receive a 4-year sentence for the lesser of the 3 charges. Had the jury deliberated longer, then that may not have been the case. They may have had a hung jury, so on and so forth. Being that they were able to return a verdict on such a severe and serious case as quickly as they have, leads me to believe that either A, the prosecution has met the burden of proof for at least one of the items and they have settled on the balance, or B, the prosecution has not met any burden of proof and they will find him not guilty on all 3 charges. As again, I think that, based on everything that's been occurring and the fact that now you have a sitting representative stating that she's going to approve of, more interaction and more, I apologize, the word eludes me at the moment, but Maxine Waters is just a disgrace to her office, a disgrace to this country, and a disgrace to everything holy. Because, that lady is just a terrible human being, the way that she has presented herself over the past few years while allowing her district to literally fall into ruins. And it's sad because these are the people that, have the biggest say in our government, not because of the job they've done, but simply because of not only the color of their skin, but because of the way that they are grandfathered into this stupid democratic narrative that just hasn't benefited this country in any way over the past 30 years, 40 years, if not more. It's truly a shame what it is that we have to deal with here. And I hope that as Americans, we are smart enough to look beyond the stupidity of the woke liberal narrative and understand that this is, in fact, more than just a trial of a police officer. This is, in fact, putting on trial a whole, in fact, race. And that's something that needs to be addressed. Why does a skin color have to be anything anymore? It's nothing that can be changed. If you can't change it, why in God's name should it even be something that we are discussing? I don't understand. It doesn't separate us in any other way. The only thing that separates Americans is culture and cultural indeficiencies and things that people may not have been raised the same way under the same set of goals and morals. But that's fine. That's what makes America so wonderful, because it is that melting pot. That's why so many people try to attend this country. Why do you think our border is being inundated? Not because this is the worst country for minorities, because it's the best country for minorities. And yet they're still not happy enough. And it's not that they're still not happy enough. No one is happy enough. No one is ever happy enough, and that's the problem. When we start to realize how great the world is around us, then we'll start to realize and appreciate the things that we have and start to truly move forward and address the things that we actually need addressed. So much focus has been put on a narrative that truly isn't even the case. Honestly. Yes, there are some inequalities and things that do need to be worked on. But do I feel that they are anywhere near the level that this whole entire narrative is pushing? Absolutely not. And if I'm wrong, let me know. Comment below. Let me know what you don't agree with. But at the same time, you better have a reason to back it, because America is the greatest place on earth. I don't care what anybody says. I've been to a lot of places. I've been to a lot of countries. I've been to a lot of different environments and different forms of government. And this, by far, is the only system that would work for the group of people that we have. and to try and change that instead of changing the problems that we have. Why change something that technically works? Well, I know why they're changing it, because they don't have enough power in that system. They want more and more and more power. This constant struggle for power is the reason that America is falling apart. If we realize how much power we have if we actually work together, could you imagine how much greater a country this truly would be? If eventually everyone realized that color truly means absolutely nothing, can you imagine how much greater this world would be? Other countries would be just so jealous of the perfection that they would have no other alternative but to follow suit. And until that actually happens, I don't see this world getting any better. As long as they continue to have trials such as this, where they're continuing to force this racial divide, this division, this hate, why is there a need to divide? Why is there such a reason? It's so wrong. We're all human beings, we're all Americans, and that's all that matters. So we're just waiting here for the Chauvin trial. We didn't expect to actually talk this long. We anticipated turning on the live stream, getting the verdict, and discussing the facts about the verdict, but the verdict is being delayed here. We are going to bring you, obviously, the live stream coverage of the verdict the moment it happens. So stay tuned. This is a live stream with Critical Political Thinking. Please like, please subscribe, please ring that notification bell, and we will continue to bring you free coverage. Visit our website at www.criticalpoliticalthinking.com. You know, it's sad. We're watching other feeds. There's an individual outside with a sign, "Justice needs a win." A win? How is that a win? Where's the win here? Who's winning? Who's benefiting? The family already benefited. They got their $27 million. I'd be surprised if David showed up at the trial. Unless they were told they'd get more money. I don't understand this. These people weren't around in this guy's life when he was having drug addictions, fentanyl problems. And now all of a sudden, everyone is so concerned about this individual's welfare. Well, it's a little too late. So why don't you start focusing on the people that we can help, the people that do have these addiction problems, the people that are around us, our friends, our families. These are the people that we need to address, those that we can be helping. You know, so many people came out to support this movement. Thousands of people are pouring out on the streets. Some are just pouring out on the streets to steal, loot, riot, take opportunity, and make it what it is. But then you have a group of people that truly want to make this world a better place, but they are so misguided and they're so misinformed that they're wasting time. They're wasting ambition. I wish that Americans saw the truth. And I'm an American and I see the truth. And the truth is, we all need to be who we are. There's no changing that. But at the end of the day, we all are here for one reason. That's to live a happy, respectful, peaceful life. And if we have to constantly hurt and struggle and harm others to get there, then at the end of the day, is it really worth it? I don't think it is. And this whole trial has been a culmination of that. And here we are, waiting for the verdict. We're waiting for a man to be sentenced. Or I shouldn't say sentenced. We're waiting for a man to be found guilty or not guilty. If he is in fact found guilty of any of the charges, we're going to go over what the sentencing minimum and maximum sentencing guidelines would be. But as we discussed in the past, I truly feel that Mr. Chauvin, if at all, if the prosecution was at all able to prove beyond a burden of proof, beyond reasonable doubt, obviously they did not make a good enough case for second and third degree murder. And if they did, if they are found guilty of second and third degree murder, what we're going to find in that fact then would be that, in fact, you know, the jury may have been swayed because they didn't follow the truth or the facts in the case. And in that time, I really think that Maxine Waters' words did have a little too much weight and that a mistrial or a appeal would be in place. So here we are waiting for the Derek Chauvin trial verdict. It should be coming any moment. My name is Corey Camasso. This is Critical Political Thinking, and we'll be back with you in just a few moments, but we're going to leave the stream live just in case. Again, you're watching Critical Political Thinking, the live coverage of the Derek Chauvin verdict. In just a few moments, we will have a verdict and we will know where we stand as a country. We'll then be reaching out to our correspondents across the country to talk about the response and reaction in some major Democratic metropolitan areas, as well as some major conservative strongholds. And we'll try to identify and see where some of the looting, rioting, and any of the other actions that may result as a direct result of the verdict of this case may play out. But again, we are live here, bringing you live coverage of the verdict reading for the state of Minnesota's trial against Derek Chauvin, a former police officer, allegedly who murdered George Floyd. Again, we don't feel that the prosecution has met the burden of proof for the greater of the two charges, which would be the second and third degree murder. If anything, they do have the second degree manslaughter available, or I'm sorry, third degree manslaughter, and that does hold a mandatory sentence of a maximum sentence of 4 years. And if this judge is going to try and save his city in any way, shape, or form, sadly, he would have to give him that full 4 years. And I don't feel that that's very fair, that he's being tried and sentenced based on a reaction of the woke mob. So, either way, the defense has a great opportunity for appeal if it is even necessary. Because as I mentioned, they didn't meet the burden of proof for the first two, at least as far as the law was concerned, from everything we saw and through all of the major analytics that we had from some of the law firms in our area here and some of the law firms that we were able to discuss in Minnesota that were a little more privy to Minnesota law. But again, we are here watching and waiting with the rest of the world for the Derek Chauvin trial. And we are looking forward to, hopefully, a respectful decision. And I know that no matter what the decision is, the woke liberal media mob is not going to accept it. And we are still going to have looting, rioting. They've already got that plan. They've already, pretty much planned where they're going to put their new 60-inch television they're going to pull out of Target tonight. So, with that said, we already understand where our country is headed over the next few weeks. But we do feel when this trial and this verdict comes back, things may not be as they seem. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We've been streaming now for a little over 33 minutes. And we were expected to have this verdict a little while ago, but we have a feeling that when they released it, they did not release it in EST, they released it in Central Time. So we'll find out now within the next 10 to 15 minutes the fate of Mr. Derek Chauvin. So stay tuned and welcome to Critical Political Thinking. Please like, please subscribe, please ring that notification bell and help us continue to grow as we continue to bring you free live coverage of everything related to the world of politics. My name is Corey Camasso, host of Critical Political Thinking, a conservative podcast here on YouTube, and this is our live stream coverage of the upcoming verdict from the state of Minnesota versus Derek Chauvin on the alleged murder trial of George Floyd. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Just as soon as this verdict is being read, you will hear it live here on this channel, so stay tuned. Our correspondents in Minnesota are now informing us that a rather large crowd is beginning to form all around the courthouse as now word is being spread throughout the city there that the verdict is in. So people are starting to now form, whether it be to celebrate or to riot. We cannot determine until we hear this verdict. But as you know, and as you've seen in the past, I think the conservatives only had about one day when they rioted, looted, did anything. No major destruction, a couple windows. I think they said the damage was under around $105,000. Meanwhile, you've got billions of dollars in BLM damage over the past year. And we're anticipating a ton more based on the results of this. So, ladies and gentlemen, pay attention, stay tuned, and see that no matter what, unless this guy is found guilty on all three charges, which we know is impossible, they're going to riot because it's never going to be good enough. And it seems as if, your clowns like Chris Cuomo, Don Lennon, these people that have no respect for the communities they live in. They have their little mansions on the hills, so they don't really have to worry about what it is to be an American citizen. So these are the people that have no problem pushing and forcing this false liberal woke agenda, because they know they have that security guard that's armed, that has the permit for the firearm, so they don't have to bother getting any of that. They don't understand what it is to be American. They are fortunate Americans. They are privileged Americans. And almost so that they call this white privilege thing. Well, I think there's something called, another form of privilege. And I'm not even going to get into that at this point, because this is more about the trial and the murder of Mr. George Floyd and the trial of Derek Chauvin. But with that said, I think most Americans understand, or at least most Americans with common sense understand, the situation that our country is now in, the great detriment that our country has gone through over the past 3 months since the administration of Joe Biden has taken over. All of this information is actually available on BidenDestroyedAmerica.com. So hop on by and check that out at www.BidenDestroyedAmerica.com. Or you can actually check out the new site for the Conservative Party here, and that is, once again, Democrats Destroy America.com. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, because the verdict is just around the corner in the trial of the century for Derek Chauvin. This is not a normal trial. This is something that is going to, no matter what the result, bring reactions from clear across the country in forms that we may have never seen before. So as this occurs, as this unfolds, we'll be here to bring you the facts behind the case. We have a feeling that the verdict will be read here now within just a few moments, so stay tuned. Obviously, these individuals have been going since early this morning, deliberating, so on and so forth. And we are just basically now pushing through the paperwork, apparently, and awaiting the arrival of the balance of those parties responsible for the reading of the verdict. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We will have the verdict from Derek Chauvin's trial in just a few moments here. We are live streaming, and as soon as the audio comes back in, we will STFU. Again, ladies and gentlemen, please like, please subscribe, and please ring that notification bell. We'll continue to bring you this coverage live and free. Just please help us continue to grow. We are just about at 6,000 subscribers under our first year of conservative reporting. We thank you so much for being valued subscribers and valued supporters. Please visit our website at www.criticalpoliticalthinking.com and join our Critical Political Thinkers Club today for your chance to get some free gear, some free merch, face masks, t-shirts, mugs, all kinds of great stuff, all just by visiting and joining www.criticalpoliticalthinking.com today. We are live here with the Derek Chauvin trial. We are awaiting the verdict. As soon as it becomes live, you will be seeing it with us, and then we can react and respond together. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the actual verdict reading of Derek Chauvin here. And this is going to be the trial of the century, the results we are going to be dealing with for weeks to come. I truly feel bad for some of the residents and business owners in some of these cities, because I don't feel that the prosecution has met its burden of proof. I think that the majority of these rioters and protesters are in for a very rude awakening, and I think that that's going to get taken out on just about everything around them. So fortunately, the National Guard is there, but I don't feel that the National Guard is even going to be prepared to address what may occur if what's about to happen, that we think is about to happen, does happen. And if it in fact doesn't happen, then we understand that it's still going to lead to rioting and looting, because at that point, the defense has a fantastic appeal or a mistrial case based on, the words of Miss Maxine Waters, so on and so forth, and the fact that they pretty much did not meet the burden of proof, at least the prosecution did not. So these are things that are all going to be addressed in the next few weeks. However, as we have seen in the past, this isn't pretty much a rational group of people. These are individuals who truly don't care about the outcome of their actions. They know that they have people like Kamala Harris, AOC, and all the woke celebrities, in the California area willing to bail them out of jail unless they're committing these crimes in New York, where there is no bail because Cuomo just took care of that in one blanket sweep. I mean, it's amazing what our country has become over the past 3 months, and I can't say that I didn't tell you so, and I can't say that our channel didn't tell you so. What I can tell you is that as Americans, we need to either start working together or we will fail together. This country will not be here in 20 years if we continue on the path that we're going down. Russia and China and North Korea already see the golden opportunity. It's not going to get better. Again, ladies and gentlemen, please like, please subscribe, please ring that notification bell, and help us to continue to grow. We are going to take about a 2-minute break here. We'll be right back with you. We're going to continue to keep this live stream rolling, and if we do hear the live stream kick back on where they are going to be reading the verdict, we'll be back with you. But stay tuned, hang out, enjoy, and watch. The verdict is just around the corner. Again, it looks like the defense is seated. Not quite sure. I guess we're just waiting for the judge at this point. But in the reflection, you can see the defense is seated. Hello and welcome to Critical Political Thinking. We are live and awaiting the response and the verdict from the Derek Chauvin trial, so stay tuned. Just as soon as we see them enter the courtroom, we'll be back and joining you, and we will go over the response and reaction immediately following the reading of the verdict. But again, welcome to our live stream here at Critical Political Thinking. We are still awaiting the trial verdict for Derek Chauvin. Stay tuned right here on the Critical Political Thinking live stream. right, ladies and gentlemen, again, we are live here waiting for the Derek Chauvin trial to come about. This is when we will hear the verdict and when we will find out exactly what will happen with the officer that has been accused of the murder of George Floyd. So stay tuned and welcome to the live stream. My name is Corey Camasso, and you are watching our coverage of the critical political thinking George Floyd Derek Chauvin trial. We are about to hear the verdict once again here in Minnesota, and we will be with you in just a few moments. All right, we'd like to say hello to Brand817. What do we think about Dr. Fauci? Dr. Fauci is a piece of work. We understand that Dr. Fauci has acquired and assisted the CDC and the WHO back in the day in acquiring a humanization form of the virus COVID SARS numbers 1 through 19, which would include, obviously, COVID SARS 2, which is the strain that we are dealing with here, which is the coronavirus, COVID 19. But COVID SARS 2 would be the strain under the patent form, at least. So what does that leave us? That means that Dr. Fauci has the extreme potential to profit substantially from the use or the implementation of the humanization of the COVID virus. So that's what we think about Dr. Fauci. We think it's a huge conflict of interest for him to have played the role that he played. And sadly, partially, I feel that Donald Trump is to blame for that. I don't think that he understood the full levity of the situation. And once he did understand what was going on, I think that's why he separated himself from Dr. Fauci. As a matter of fact, we know that's why he separated himself from Dr. Fauci when he found out more about the truth and realized that he could be held accountable for this man. And this man has been lying and flipping the truth all along, and a secret Democratic operative since day one. So that's not a really good thing to do, as far as we're concerned. But that would be our opinion on, Dr. Fauci. We'd also like to say hello to Corn Pop. What's up, Corn Pop?
Thank you. Please be seated.
All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned. Are you ready for the verdict? And we're going to be silent, so here we go. The trial of the century. My name's Corey Camasso, and this is Critical Political Thinking, and you're seeing it now. This has to be nerve-wracking.
All rise for the jury. All right, please be seated. Members of the jury, I understand you have a verdict.
Again, this is critical political thinking, and here comes the verdict.
Members of the jury, I will now read the verdicts as they will appear in the permanent records of the 4th Judicial District. State of Minnesota, County of Hennepin, District Court, 4th Judicial District. State of Minnesota Plaintiff versus Derek Michael Chauvin, Defendant. Verdict, Count 1. Court file number 27, CR 20-12646. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to Count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April 2021 at 1:04 p.m. Signed, juror foreperson, juror number 19. Same caption, verdict count 2. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 2, third-degree murder, perpetrating an eminently dangerous act, find the defendant guilty.
Wow.
This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April 2021 at 1:45 p.m. Signed by jury foreperson, juror number 19.
Guilty.
Same caption, verdict count 3. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 3, second-degree manslaughter, culpable negligence, creating an unreasonable risk, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April 2021 at 1:45 p.m.
Well, there you have it, a mistrial.
019.
Without a doubt,
Members of the jury,
Maxine
I'm now going to
Waters.
ask you individually if these are your true and correct verdicts. Please respond yes or no. Juror number 2, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 9, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 19, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 27, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 44, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 52, are these your true and correct verdicts?
I cannot believe this. Not gonna
Juror
lie.
number 55, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 79.
So now
are
we
these your
can
true
no
and
longer
correct
trust our
verdicts?
electoral system, and we can no longer trust our
Juror
judicial
number
system.
85, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 89, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 91, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 92, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Are these your verdicts, so say you one, so say you all?
Yes.
Members of the jury, I find that the verdicts as read reflect the will of the jury and will be filed accordingly. I have to thank you on behalf of the people of the state of Minnesota for not only jury service, but heavy-duty jury service. What I'm going to ask you to do now is to follow the deputy back into your usual room.
So I have a feeling these people just wanted to get the hell out of there and not be the person responsible for the...
All rise for the jury.
This is terrible. What an injustice. What an absolute injustice has been served. There has been no burden of proof met on count 1 or 2, or counts 2 or 3. This is just a joke. Our judicial system can no longer be trusted. That's the end of that.
Seated. With the guilty verdicts returned, we're going to have Blakely, you may file a written argument as to Blakely factors within 1 week.
There you
The court will
go.
issue findings on the Blakely factors, the factual findings, 1 week after that. We'll order a PSI immediately, returnable in 4 weeks. And we will also have a briefing on, after you get the PSI, 6 weeks from now, and then 8 weeks from now, we will have sentencing. We'll get you the exact dates in a scheduling order. Is there a motion on behalf of the state?
Move to have the court revoke the defendant's bail and remand him into custody pending sentencing.
Bail is revoked, bond is discharged, and the defendant is remanded to the custody of the Hennepin County Sheriff. Anything further? All right, thank you.
What a joke this has become. I blame Maxine Waters. That's who I blame.
We're adjourned.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned here. That is the end of it. I'm very sorry to say that I disagree with the jury, and I really hope that the the defense appeals this travesty. So now we can no longer trust our electoral system. We can no longer trust our judicial system. We are going to now have absolutely no police officers willing to protect us. Our country is going to go to hell. The entire government will now rely on the, Democratic-controlled army. Goodbye, America. That is what just happened.